Neeson. With me today is the effervescent Bridget D. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Now, I gotta tell you, Janine, I actually did make the new intro. I just forgot to upload it.
That's all right. It's all good. Nice to see you guys again.
Nice to have you guys here too. And we have a special guest joining us today, Michael André Ford. I mean, if you've ever been into angels or spirit guides or whatever, and you ever had conversations with your own, some people do, I'd like to compare notes between you and Michael, because as far as I can remember, I've interviewed quite a few people who can connect or medium or channel or whatever. I think he has the record for the number of angels and guides and other beings from the other side that he connects with, because he was talking about hundreds of them. And look at this. Look at this. He's showing a photo to us.
Four archangels.
Wow. I mean, that's just so cool. Wow.
But there's 10,000 photos, so we can just...
10,000?
Yeah.
We are going to get through that.
To folks, and they take the photos, but they can see with their own eyes now, full on standing, with or without wings, meet Audrey Hepburn, angel. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to grasp. We're going to deep dive, I have a feeling, in a second.
I think we are. So first, welcome to the program. We're glad to have you here. And Michael and I basically connected on LinkedIn, and it was just like an instant. Okay, Mike, here's the link. Sign up, pick a show, let's go, because that's the kind of information that comes across when you connect to him this way. But tell us how all this thing got started. I mean, wow, holy cow!
I'm an East Coaster originally. I ended up in Texas, but I'll get there. I'll make it fast. East Coast, I've always looked young for my age, born in 1968. I lost my dad in 1970, Navy fighter pilot type. Lost my mom when I was 23. Supposed to lose both parents. Hundreds of people have met them. I literally just pull back the veil and step aside. So you get a direct experience with angels, but this doesn't have to be woo-woo-woo or spiritual or any of the institutes. It's a direct experience. So you meet your passed over loved ones if you can own the angel part. But you meet plenty of other figures from India, Native American, some religious figures, non-religious figures. It's all unconditional love.
Wow. And when did all this begin? I mean, you told us when you lost your parents, but when did it all start for you?
In 1970, when my dad died, a woman walked 3 pictures of 3 Native American chiefs down to my mom. Didn't know it was for protection at the time, but it was Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo. And that came full circle about 10 years ago when I started to pop. A lot of friends were intuitive. I had an ex-girlfriend who was intuitive. I didn't get it, though. I got goosebumps. I didn't judge it, but I couldn't grasp it. And so I think a lot of people are like that when we look at anything. Could be Buddhism, could be sports, NFL. If you just don't get it, you don't get it. You don't appreciate ballet. But what we just talked about off camera is letting go is letting go. And if you allow, I would argue it's the same difficulty level of mowing the grass, a light switch, falling asleep at night, brushing one's teeth. And we're talking basic listening, and then basic feeling for hugs and et cetera, and basic seeing. I mean, you've done it. It's just, we think it's hard, and we think it's a really big deal, and we think it's also ooh, and it could be fearful ooh, or it could be woo woo woo. Just not me. That's what other people do.
I love the new technical terms. We got ooh ooh and we got woo woo woo. Very cool.
I don't use a lot of lingo. Compassion, love, and I do know angels exist. I've seen them as humans to completely throw a wrench into all of this.
Okay, so let's go with that particular wrench, because that one interests me a lot. Okay, you've seen them as actual humans, so you're like interacting with them and all that kind of stuff.
Not always talking with them. Sometimes it's just meant to run into them but not exchange words. It's fried me in a good way. I got to surf with a Portuguese ballerina taking time off from life in Maui, who was an angel named Heather. I ran into her in Stockholm before a half marathon. I got there 5 days too early, and I was at their track in the capital doing turnovers. The place is deserted. In walks a UCLA student. They can take on any form, shape. They've got a Hollywood wardrobe. Let's just put it that way. So look, that's jumping ahead a little bit. So it's nice that I have photos of angels that are in light energy form, shapes, not just balls of light, orbs, all that. Full on seeing. You look out your window, or if you're really gutsy, you were skydiving yesterday, the chute didn't open, you didn't get a scratch though. So you're the most fearless you've ever been. You bounced, you lived, probably never going to go skydiving again, but you're walking around saying life is great and you're hugging everybody, you would see an angel, Archangel Michael, or Joy, the emotion Joy, or Audrey Hepburn right in front of you. With or without wings, you get it both ways, direct conversation. All languages spoken, get any answers to any questions at any level of detail. The record is from an Australian, 49 pages in 9 hours. How fast can you write and get rid of the ink in your pen and get another pen? I'm off running. Don't tell anybody. I think once I played video games. I check in every 2 hours. I'm connected. I do some channeling, whatever you want to call it. I hold the space. I tell dad jokes. But I get you out of here to trust that you've got it all here skill set wise. And again, it's the skill set of brushing your teeth. Nothing more.
Wow. Okay. Well, all right. I got to ask you this. I saw in one of your notes somewhere you also have interacted with Seth, like Jane Roberts' Seth.
Okay, so light beings, look, I'm the slowest poke in the West, if that expression exists. I'm the slowest on the uptake there ever was. It takes me 2 years to learn what all of you could learn in 10 seconds. I'm a really fast teacher, so I start people off with seeing auras and stuff like that. Baby steps, 60 little baby steps, and you've blown out all your intuitive skills here, and you're much more relaxed. You step out of thinking, out of Plato's cave, get into the heart, which knows no limits, just love. And with light beings, I was a little shy on light beings. Let's put it that way. Seth was the first one. And I had light beings kind of popping in, and I want to leave a little bit of the detail out. Maybe just touching my face in my closet on a new home up north of Austin. We lived there for 10 years. I'm in San Antonio now. But I had light beings touching my face in a nice way. And I'm feeling the energy, and I'm not weirded out by it. But I'm not exactly jumping on board to get to know everybody. So I took 2 extra years to get the introductions done. But there's a Grace light being whose enthusiasm, like moi. And so I just say, look, light beings are like whales, and angels are more like dolphins. And they're all here to help, no interference. If everyone's fine where they are. Everyone's doing the best they can, and that's a stretch. There's a lot of complex people out there stuck in thinking. I wish everybody well, but for those who have just this much gusto to give it a go and let go of what they know, long enough to just listen, you get your answers. You ask for a hug, you feel a hug. 10,000 ways to feel a hug. Goosebump, a wind in the room, yummy in the tummy, down your back. But the hugs can become healing. So it's 3 colorblind people have seen colors. A lot of people yawn, a lot of people cry. I didn't tell a bad dad joke. It's just we're all carrying a lot of baggage around. How it is, our old story. The divorce from 10 years ago, Henry or Sarah, they're a jerk. Every time you're labeling others, you're really just dealing in the negativity of that label, whether you know it or not. So there's a lot of unconscious stuff going on. I help people get out of the unconscious and much more awareness. It's the law of attraction stuff. That's why I'm here.
And that's actually what I think everybody deals with on a day-to-day basis, no matter what modality they're dealing with, no matter who they're talking to. It's how do I get out of my own way? So, I mean, you're right in swing there, no doubt about that. Now, I am also curious about how is the wrong question. What is it that you do that gets yourself out of your way?
Ooh. That's a great question. Probably the good news is I don't retain a lot up here. And if I'm in the middle of helping someone, I can get the most blank look you've ever seen. I don't know what I said a second earlier, and I'm like, hey, where were we? But I do ask everybody to write down a wish list. It's really hard to comprehend having no limits. We walk around, and that's all we deal in when we're thinking is limits. Limits, conditional thinking, conditional love.
Right.
Unconditional down in the heart there. So I help a person pop out of what they know long enough to do basic listening. If you really cared about doing listening with some other human being at the supermarket, it's going to be real listening. You're not going to be thinking about the vegetables you've got to buy in 5 minutes, or did you leave something on at home? You're listening to the person. You're fully present. Let's do Eckhart Tolle for a second. You're just letting go, and you're in the moment, and you're expanding. So it's that whole human being thing. Eckhart Tolle also says, you're human most of the time, but there's a bigger being, the Shakespeare, to be or not to be. I kind of think that we're so far bigger than what any of us will allow for. Scientists, they're running around working so hard for years on answers. If they wanted just to ask Einstein, Angel, and then how to operate a pen, ask, listen, write down your answer. Get the rest of the formula. I have a feeling they're going to fill their free time that they just
Probably would, yeah. And it would probably be setting them up for research for the next 10 years and doing that, which would be very cool. No doubt about that. All right, we're going to open this up a bit because we have a number of listeners, including one I know who already is saying, I want to ask a question. I want to ask a question. But I'm going to go to Bridge and Janine first while they're entering their questions. So if you're in the live stream, go ahead, type questions into the live stream and we'll pick them up. Bridge, Janine, do you have anything that you want to bring up first before I go to the live stream? Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I do, really quick. Michael, do you need to be in a meditative state to see angels and or to see, or is it kind of like ghosts? Because sometimes I can see like imagery of that was, I believe, kind of like a replay of a past event. Sometimes I can walk into a room and I can see things that have happened in the past. I mean, is that how you see it, or do you have to like meditate? Or do you have to be in a trance to see angels?
Great question. I think there's all types of energies out there. I've seen negativity in the past. The ghost thing I got stuck on before I could accept that angels might even exist, before I was taking photos. So angels are angels, high vibration. If it's all one giant piano scale, trillions of keys, and half of them are negativity or unconsciousness headed to greater extremes, and then going up, it's higher vibes. I would just argue, whenever you're accidentally out of thinking, you just took a hot shower, you're stepping out, you're like, wow, that was amazing. The whole Wayne Dyer thing, you can't be upset and you can't be in a hot shower enjoying it at the same time. So it's sort of whenever you're accidentally here, it happens so infrequently, you wake up in the morning, first thing, you might see a ball of light. I was trail running 8 years ago, my guardian angel showed up that way for the very first time. And I made it 30 seconds or so until finally my thinking kicked in and I was like, what am I looking at? I was feet off the bed and into the kitchen 30 yards away or 30 feet away, screaming, what did I just see for 10 minutes? So I was jumpy for the first 2 or 3 years. Could be a little ball light, all shapes, sizes, colors. Just lots of love, though. That's the thing. So
that's cool.
Okay, so like a lower thought activity or something that that's your sort of
watching TV. It could happen on the more on the periphery. A little light ball of light comes by and just wiggle. That's Penelope. Jamie does ice skating and comes by. It's a long story, but each one has their own way of showing up. Or full on standing. I have tons of my vendors. You own a home and somebody has to fix the AC. I donate service all the time. It almost feels like I'm having stuff break so I can do free service for every other vendor. And then they stand on the front lawn and I have them look, if they're pretty not fearful, 5 houses away. And on the front lawn, 5 houses away, there's Jesus, there's an angel, a Native American chief. If they're really scared, 20 houses away. 2 people at once, a boss and an underling, seeing at the same time. I mean, I'm off the hook. I got 50 plus testimonials, video testimonials, Essalon, Omega Institute, and so on. So I love this job because it's not the normal woo-woo-woo.
Your enthusiasm is just kind of rubbing off here. We're getting it really loud and clear.
Wait till the bed.
And I know Bridge is excited to ask, so I apologize for jumping in, Bridge.
No,
you're so excited. So
yeah.
He actually answered my question in the midst of yours, so you're good. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
You can go to the live stream, man.
Let's go to the live stream. So we got Kimberly. I'm going to throw it up on the screen here. She says, I have to move in a month and keep praying if I belong in Utah with my aunt, sell everything and live in a trailer at an RV park. My life is in a huge change. Amen.
I'm not going to play the 1920s psychic because I'm almost the opposite, but I am psychic. So let me just say that I believe it's the most important thing for a person to have their own experience in life. And guess what? That's what we're all having. But I would say follow your heart. So if it feels good, let's do the Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks thing, the pivoting, not pivoting. If it feels good and this is what you're excited about, you're excited, enthusiasm, high vibration. Same thing with hanging out with people who have a high vibe. If they don't have a high vibe and they're complex, why do it? So hopefully you like that aunt. You're super excited, Kimberly. Why don't you put it to the universe? How about nice, safe language? Sleep on it and see how you feel in the morning. Leave pen and paper by bed and see what comes to you. Ask for a real nice dream from angels in the universe. But again, you're listening to me and my whole shtick, my whole spiel, my reason for being is to help everybody get out of here, get to here, and do their own listening direct.
All right. So, well, that leads to another good question. This one's from Jeffrey. He's asking, do the spirits ask you to do emotional work for them?
Not directly for beings of unconditional love that are beyond human thinking. To me, it's like a Star Wars metaphor. Human thinking is a little bit of a restrictor plate. When you talk about droids, if you want to get all tech geeky, sci-fi, it's a little bit limiting our thinking. It's just kind of the human nature thing, the human condition, the eternal setup. When you get out of thinking, though, wow, you get to have a lot of fun. You do your creativity, your enthusiasm. It's when love happens. You have all your best memories. Thinking's going to happen, but getting out of thinking is the best thing that you can do. I think 5 to 10% more a week.
So, like Mike said, we're not going to do mediumship type stuff, but if you have other questions, put them into the live stream. One question that did come up, and I'll kind of rephrase it for our conversation here. The person was asking, do I have people around me? Do I have spirits around me? I think the answer probably is yes to that, but I mean, address that. How does that work?
Yeah. Look, if I try not to say too much, except I think everybody's got a giant cheerleading squad, tons of angels. Some of them come and go depending on where you are, which life stage. A life stage could be 2 minutes, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years, depends how slow of a learner you are. Everything's your opportunity for growth. But if you get laid off from a job, nobody runs around and says, hooray, this is my opportunity for growth. Or if you get a health condition, if anything bad ever happens, no one says, everyone starts off with my problem is. And that's coming from thinking. And again, I'm going to probably hit Wayne Dyer up on this one, but the consciousness that says, or unconsciousness that says, I have a problem, is not the consciousness that helps you move forward to the next stage in life and leave it behind. So one's up here, which is why I always say when you write down your tough questions, walk away. Because if I say, I've only got $10,000 to my name, I don't have a job, I'm in real trouble. When I write that down, I'm living and breathing it. I believe that's completely real. Walk away, go take a shower, sleep on it, go for a walk with the dog, come back and start fresh, listening here, and get your direct answers. It's going to feel like jumping off a bridge, bungee cord, tall bridge. That fear factor, jumping off into a waterfall, you got to let go. I argue that the leap of faith, religious, non-religious faith, whichever way you want to call it, letting go, is really only a millimeter. You're going this distance, okay, so a foot. You're going from this distance, this distance into your heart. Do you know how to listen? All languages are spoken. So people who are from India get it in Hindi or Telugu or a third language just happened. I don't know all the languages there. But it could be a few. Yeah, it could be a Native American dialect. It's, from Peru, get it in Spanish.
That's very cool. Okay. So basically I'm hearing a theme in all this great stuff you're telling us. And the theme is get all the preconceptions out of the way. Yeah.
And why not put it this way? I'll give you guys a year or 9 months, but if all three of you want to do it, you can have me back on. Who's going to be doing the talking? Not me. You guys can recount your experiences. My job is to get you out of here, to get you here, to get you the wish list. Details for questions, but once that bucket's kind of filled, you realize, holy cow, one hug is worth 1,000 questions. Why wouldn't I get a hug? It's learning to hit the button of no limits. Love. Get a whoosh. You worked too hard last night, Walt. You feel like you spent too much of your energy. Ask an angel, a Native American chief, a fairy, Buddha, to swing by and give you 4 wishes in a row. Maybe 20 wishes. You want to get rid of your cedar fever, maybe 40 wishes. You got to ask. But no limits means no limits. You knew it as a kid, but as an adult, we got to pay the bills. I got this happening to me. You don't understand my story. I have kids. The whole song and dance that we're used to that every human being goes through. You, me, and Jeffrey.
And Jeffrey, right? Well, actually, I'm not sure about Jeffrey. He lives on a different plane from the rest of us, but that's okay. Well, that's another topic.
American
the thought that keeps coming back to me, and this kind of harkens back, I think, to what Janine mentioned earlier. You don't seem to do anything to kind of get yourself into a high place. Are you always in a high place, and so you're able to be in that high vibe? I mean, or is it just that you go into your heart? What's your trick? How do you do that?
Next year, I'll have been running for 40 years. So I think running's a big part of it. And an angel, okay. I think it was Gabriel, just said something about exercise as a form of compassion, which I thought was one of those deep lines that, look, if people have been listening now for 10 years, 2,000 plus people have done this, there's probably been 40, 50,000 questions asked. There's a lot of really cool statements. That's a lot of wisdom that applies to us all, or it's bigger picture stuff. And so I might mention as an aside, you can walk the Akashic records with angels. You close your eyes on that one. I got 2 different groups that'll walk you through. You can see what you're allowed to see, what's permitted, what's written. Angels can alter your path. So there's a lot of stuff that isn't written. I had a guy who was 50-50 on the maybe checking out health-wise, very severe condition. It was up to him if he wanted to leave or go. He yawned the entire time. And that happens nowadays. And it wasn't because anything was boring. It's just there's tons of compassion coming in. You can see, if you like Joseph Campbell, meet Joe. That's a non-religious, non-woo-woo-woo figure. And he got an A+ on his life path. He never met his angels or anything like that. And that was the original question. You have cheerleading squads, so spirit guides, angels, passed over loved ones. If you can own the angel part, you can see Aunt Jenny. Usually people get pretty torn up about it. I'll give you one quick war story. Again, I had a vendor who was moving a fridge and a washer dryer or something like that from our house we sold down to San Antonio, brought along a helper. I helped them both out, and they got to see, hear, and feel angels independently, some Native American chiefs, then they did it together. But I asked them on the family side, because I 2-3 years ago, I'd be like, I would tell you I don't do dead people, but I do dead people. So if it's a passed over loved one, you have to own the first part. You check with an angel and they say, yep, do it. He picked a different relative, and I was playing a little bit of the Tyler Henry role. I felt that there was someone else besides the relative that he picked. He got his uncle done or something. And I'm like, are you sure there isn't someone else? It was his brother. And, he lost his brother. Yeah. And this is a cool guy. It felt like he was already a healer and he needed to be doing what I'm doing. So he got to meet his brother, and that's going to stand out as a top 50 memory. I'm getting goosebumps all over. He got to see his brother connect, chat. And it's not that they're going to run up and give you a hug, but you get a hug from afar and you can feel the energy. It's like the Love Actually movie at the airport. You're picking up a friend, but you're just out of earshot. You lock eyes, and whatever that transmission is, the Buddhist leaf flower sermon transmission, you light up, they light up. You haven't seen them in tears. You're so excited. That's what this is. This is the happy movie or Tom Cruise movie you liked from 40 years ago. Whenever life is good.
Absolutely. That's very cool. I'm going to go back to a comment that Kimberly made. She's the one who asked the first question from the live stream. And the one we kind of steered away from mediumship and so forth. She basically is talking about how this is perfect timing for her. Right before we did the show today, she took a nap. When she woke up, here we are talking about angels. And as soon as I saw that, I thought to myself, there's something there in what happened when she woke up that she needs to pay attention to. But I'm curious to know, is there something about, if we feel like there's some sort of connection like that, we should be paying closer attention in some way?
I think the more we can slow down, it doesn't have to be a full stop. Full stops are nice. Good luck with that. 3 times a week, maybe. And it's totally healthy. The more you can do a meditative practice, there's so many practices out there. Essalon, Canyon Ranch, the books, the authors, the Super Soul Sunday authors. They're all trying to point the way, and they've done a fantastic job. Think of the 50 years. Jane Roberts.
Oh, geez.
All these folks.
Yeah.
And Byron Katie, crowbar mechanic, doing is it true, your thought? Are you sure your husband's a jerk when you got the divorce and everything else? But they show you how you're spending your energy. I help you actually see that energy, consciousness, back to Joseph Campbell. At one point in that Power of Myth thing, the series with Bill Moyers, he talks about, I suspect consciousness is energy. And it's love. I think love is the fabric of the universe. And I think if you can let go, you can see an angel in my hands, and I pass it through 2 screens. And it's in your hand. You talk to Joy, say, hey, what do I need to know in life? Bring her in for a hug. You don't need a photo of Joy. You don't have to see her out in your yard, but I make sure you get all the boxes checked. So I'll blow a little bit of the white sage thing to that Native American tradition in the air ahead of time. You smell it through 2 screens. You can bring in Hawaii or any of your favorite beaches from around the globe, and an angel brings it in, or your mom's perfume if later you want to give that a go. But you can close your eyes and go surfing anywhere on the globe. Fiji. Angels make it nice. This is going to be a lot. You can go to India. You can go to Tibet. You can hang out with those respective figures, but your family members can tag along. Other angels who really, Native American chiefs can hang out in India as part of sort of everyone likes to close their eyes in America. So you sit there like this and you have stuff happen. You have a ceremony. You get your answers still. People want answers. I'm happy to make sure they get everything written down. And in 3 months, you got to almost start over again. But at the end of the day, why not learn to own it so that anytime you can remember, if you can remember to remember, when you remember, I'm borrowing from, I think it's Songyel Rinpoche. I got nothing original. I thought I was original on that one. If you can remember to remember, if you can remember to remember, why not ask? And listen. It's the Winnie the Pooh quote. How do you spell love? Oh no, it's the Winnie the Pooh quote with animals. Everyone talks to animals, no one listens. Everyone's outbounding, no one's doing a full stop to just listen and, hey, grab a pen and piece of paper. So here's a question. It's awkward for me when I'm kind of pinged by the universe to help somebody. I'm at a bookstore. I kind of get a little inkling I'm supposed to help this person. I'm busy looking at a book, and you get a little like I don't want to have my space, So I look over and I'm like, and I go 2 rows over and change my topic and my focus to hide. So the person finds me again, and I usually get 3 chances in a bookstore or wherever to own up and actually help them. And it's kind of their crew, my crew, saying, hey, this person could use a little help. Well, how do you do it?
Pardon me, Michael, this happens to me a lot too in my own way. And just because of the constant rendezvous with the same person. Like you think, okay, I see a person, I think I'm supposed to talk to him. All right, never mind. Everybody's shopping. We're just shopping. 2 minutes later, I'm in a completely different part of the store. I look up, there's the person. Or their cart runs into me. That happens like all the time.
That's not an accident. You just ask, hey, how's life going? But my little thing is, then I ask later, because they always are like, oh, everything's great. Then I'm like, well, if you could change one little thing and you leave an opening and let some space sit, that art of healing listening, it'll bubble up and that'll give you your opening. I usually show them their energy, sort of Celestine prophecy style, but in India, they do it this way. You see a little aura between your fingers, white, gold, green, yellow, rainbow light. I've done that 3,500 people. You can see colors though that aren't on the human scale. It's angels bringing you, it's how you're already operating every day. You're already operating with this navigation system, like Esther Hicks talks about. It's energy, everything's energy. You're flowing like you wouldn't believe. So since you all know each other, had you already done this part, you could each be half the glow stick. If it's a husband and wife, you can see the flow. You could see each other's auras right now if you wanted to. You're already doing it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's actually true. I do know that because Louise and I do that. Yeah. So no doubt about that. I do have another question though, that relates to people who are kind of in the boat that I'm in. I'm one of those people who's pretty much aphantasic, meaning I have a major difficulty creating images in my mind. And I can occasionally do it. It's pretty random when it happens. But for the most part, put it this way. When I was growing up, I believed that everybody else was like me, that they had the same inability to create images. So when we talked about, well, can you imagine this? I didn't think they were actually creating images in their minds. I thought they were just kind of amorphically like I was doing it, just sort of like a general impression of something. And then when I got to full adulthood, I think it was in my 30s, I finally realized when people said they were, holding an image in their mind, they were really holding the image. They could actually see the image in their mind. Yeah. I said, well, shoot, I feel like I'm being left out here. So I mean, and there are a number of people, I think it's something like 10% of the population are in a very similar condition to where I am. So you're talking a whole lot about being able to see things, see angels and so forth. So I'm wondering, am I inhibited or is it going to work for me?
If colorblind people have seen color, and I'll go out on a limb and just say that's angel light, universal light, whatever you want to call it, the flow, the force from Star Wars. So far, haven't struck out. And there's a lot of folks that have done this, and again, in groups. So when you let go, you're really letting the universe take charge. There's what you know, and I'm never going to dispute that. But if you lined up 7 billion people and what they know, and we started cross-referencing, we'd find they all cancel each other out. Jets fans can't agree with Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans. And they're big fans, but they only watch it on TV. They don't go to the stadium. And those that go to the stadium, if I'm like, hey, do you want to meet Tom Brady? Whether it's Jesus or Dolnaif, Geronimo, Buddha, you quickly find half of them have run out of the stadium before you can get another word in.
That's surprising.
Yeah, and so I think that this is full of many miracles and more. It's whatever you'll allow for. So if you can just have that ability to say, hey, universe, sock it to me, make it nice, trust that angels exist, allow your answers to come, and more. And the more in quotes. And I'd get you a chest tattoo for that part and just say, allow you'd be surprised at what comes to you. And if we're talking just images in your mind, I'm sure during some dreams you've had an image at least once in the last 5 years come in.
Occasionally, yeah.
So I'm sure your wiring's fine. You're probably super strong at seeing full on, and now you're in deep trouble with your eyes open.
Makes you feel really good.
You see too much, Walt. You see too
Apparently,
much.
like, ooh. Okay, now I have to figure out how to see less.
I have a silhouette of an angel, my guardian angel.
Oh my.
Let me try to get that straight for you. So her name is the only complex one. I'm sorry, there's so many easy names, but it's Min, like Minnesota, water, Lakota Sioux, and Uwala, Polynesian morning glory, sweet potato vine, or Ua and La from Hawaiian, which is rain and sun, rainbow. So it's water, rainbow, if I can just sum it up. She's a very soft-spoken angel, light waves of energy and water. One of the ones that I always help out for if you loved Hawaii. You've been there, but it's obviously not practical to go every other week. But you want to have that ocean come to you, and most people can hold it for 3 to 5 seconds. Have it wash over you. Calgon, take me away. 1980s commercial.
By the way, Leanna asked a very short question. She says, "See in vibrations." And I'm not sure if she was aiming that at me or you, but I'm going to aim it at you. When you're seeing vibrations, I imagine.
Yeah, the colors are Hindu chakras, but when people first saw auras or on their fingers and stuff like that, everyone turned and was like, "Oh my God, what's that mean? It's pretty." And I'd be like, "Congratulations, you have a pulse." So, but it is the Hindu chakras. It's the Kundalini thing. It's the more you let go, it'll change. I've held my finger up. I was just helping a Super Soul teacher, one of the 100 ones, see the energy on my finger, and they're already fully talented. But you're just seeing it on folks. It's how you know when you walk into a store. You were going to go at the supermarket again. You were going to go buy milk, but there's a dad yelling at somebody, and it's a really bad scene. And you go, whoop, I'm going to go get vegetables. I'll come back for the milk later. You don't want to deal with it. There's a negative feeling over there. So It's a lot of that. And I'm a big fan of Esther Hicks and Law of Attraction, by the way. I went to her seminar in San Antonio. Never thought I'd move here. We're up north in the hilly wilderness section. Her stuff is great, but let's look at it. You want to go to her stuff as much as possible. You want to listen to the audio CDs. It's great, but you're still listening to someone else. With me, I'm gapping away here, but my shtick again is you've got it all. So you can meet light beings, first angels. You just have to own your own skill set. Have you ever listened to anybody before? Yeah, we had to do it in school at least. You know how to write your answers down. You know how to get a hug. We might not all be huggers, but it's a whoosh, it's a goosebump, it's energy. And as soon as you start allowing for more and you get with it, you get behind it, you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. Then you're off to the races. And then the seeing part comes in, but you start having other experiences. You go bigger. And Americans want more. We want tons of details for career, love.
Oh yeah.
So you get all that. I ask nowadays, I used to go over all the answers, but now I'm like, hey, if you're at a cocktail party, what would be comfortable sharing that you got written down? So how about one 10-second war story of, there was a nuclear physicist type who was taking time off from life. He wanted to quit smoking. He smoked that just paper tobacco cigarette with the chief on the box. And he asked Dull Knife, should I quit smoking? The answer was, I quit every day. Dull Knife said, I quit every day. I laughed so hard with that one. Red Shirt is the gentlest mom in the world. Compassion, compassion, compassion. He said the usual, follow your heart. He got to Geronimo, and Geronimo cursed for the second time ever. And I thought, oh my God, I'm out of business. But he said, F no. And then they went on for 2 more minutes back and forth about, look, do it or don't do it. You love smoking. It's his thing. And so Geronimo once said, prepare to die, prepare for death. And I was like, oh my God, I'm again out of business. But it was about a friend of the listener who had leukemia, and it was her time to go. So the woman's bawling. I'm like, oh my God, I'm done. This is it. I just had somebody who I helped being told they're going to die. I was like, that's it. But that wasn't the case. So look, it's hard for us to allow. Picture the 3 of you, but expanded to 30 folks over there in another room. And they're the coolest people in the world like you guys. And yet there's no thinking. They're just here to help, and they have encyclopedias, computers, all the knowledge, whatever. All you have to do is walk over to the room and be like, sit down and be like, hey, what do I need to know? You're the type who's like, oh, I don't have any questions, which happens once in a while. I love those folks. Then turn to 3 Native American chiefs, 3 angels, and be like, hey, what are my top 10 questions I should be asking about? What life stage is this? Even if you learned everything you could learn this second, you're only inviting in more lessons. Your learning, your expansion, I'm going to sound like Esther now. It never stops. So watch how fast, if you go to Esther's crew though, and you're like, hey, do you want to meet light beings? Do you want to meet angels? Everyone's doing their own thing. The institutes, there's group consciousness, group thinking, like dolphin consciousness and all the rest. So this is a little jarring to the whole landscape of wellness, spirituality, everything. It takes I say you deserve a town monument, a monument in the town square if you have the guts to just say, yeah, I'll meet a couple angels or a fairy.
Well, I would personally agree with you, actually. I think that's probably a good thing. I'm trying to imagine here because you do this professionally, you work with people regularly. I can't possibly imagine how this would work in a group setting because you got so many people involved. It would probably be like crazy trying to keep track of it all. So I imagine this is all one-on-one type work that you're doing. Am I right about that?
Yeah, they own it individually first. And so pretend it was 700 people in an open field. It'd be clipboards, photos, show them their energy first, do the kumbaya music. And I'm not making fun of it. I'm trying to sound sacred and special about it. But, something relaxing and peaceful, outdoor setting, not because of the pandemic. And then, they listen directly. There's always going to be 10 or 20% of the crowd that somehow snuck in and they're like, hey, I'm not getting it. So you got to loosen them up. More dad jokes, which tell me if you want one. So once they get started writing, they realize, oh my God, I'm off to the races. They get the writing done. Hugs? Yeah, they can ask for a hug, feel a hug. Picture one day group singing and picture one day having an angel on stage. Impossible, of course. But if we're going to, what do I say? Postulate? What's scientific? If we're going to postulate all this other stuff, why wouldn't you have an angel one day? I'm going to be like 90 at that point with a cane and my third blonde dog. They only live 10 years, unfortunately. I'll have her on stage with me as well. And then finally, people start realizing, hey, everyone's connected. I don't know if connected is the right word or not. Everyone's connected to the universe. No barriers when they get out of thinking into their heart. No limits. You know this when you go to play squash. You go to garden. You go to take a shower, brush your teeth, fall asleep at night on a good night. You let go. Thinking, no thinking, letting go, breathing, breathe. A single breath is what most people are capable of for slowing down from the rat race up here. Rat race is a little less external than we think. And obviously, we think big corporations, all the rest. But really, the rat race is just a lack of awareness.
That's a good way to describe it. I like that.
Yeah.
That's very good. Jeannie, you had something?
Oh, no, it wasn't me. Bridge had something, actually.
Oh, Bridge. Oh, okay.
Oh, I was just going to tell a story. Oh, my God. So I always wanted to see angels, and my cousin could always see her dead grandmom and her grandpapa and stuff. So I was always like, I always feel like no one's around me. Like, is anybody around me? Just like, I just want someone around me. I feel like I don't have any angels or whatever around me. She was like, okay. And she described my grandpapa on the other side. So she didn't know what he looked like at all. She described him in full, what he looked like. And she was like, okay, he's going to touch your left arm, but it's going to be like ice cold. And I was like, okay, like I'm ready. This is all I want. I'm ready. I wanted to know if someone was around me. And my arm immediately turned like it was on fire. It wasn't cold at all. It was the opposite, but it was just like, it didn't hurt at all, but it was literally like it was on fire. And I just started bawling my eyes out, not in a bad way. I was so happy. It was like the best thing in the world. I don't know. I was so happy. It was
That's
insane.
It. And that's letting go.
It was so cool.
Well done.
You're never
Beautiful.
alone. If you never bothered to actually say, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to actually listen. I'm going to just go full stop and, have a direct experience. Just trust that angels are there and put it out there. Go one way like we all do. And again, it's Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, that quote, how do you spell love? Piglet asks Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh says, you don't spell it, you feel it. We're all running around outbounding. And especially today, I'd argue with all the ideology and everything going on, and everyone's telling everybody how to think and everything else. It's not about thinking. It's in the woke stuff and all the rest. You want to be aware, awoke, awake, whatever the word is. I lose all my English. But you want to just be a little more open. It's openness itself. Let's go all Buddhist. You can meet Chogyam Trungpa, Kuan Yin. The opportunity is always the present moment. That's the doorway to everything, whether we're talking kicking 4 soccer balls into the goal in a row, writing your book, transacting business. Business people, I think, are almost more spiritual than the spiritual circles. They're disciplined. They know what they want. That's all it takes is a little kick in the butt. to say, hey, all right, I could use, 30 of my questions answered. And one of them is the top 50 people I should call to do more business.
Mm-hmm.
Get your
Okay.
name.
I
Yeah.
do have a question for you, Michael. Do you get premonition type answers from whether you ask for them or not, from your angels or guides?
Yeah, not doom and gloom stuff, but I mean, I'm in the middle
Okay.
of running and it could be anything. It could be at the supermarket, grab this. And I'm very good now at I'll say dumb. Just going down to one brain cell operating and I'm like, oh, I'll grab this. I have no idea why I'm grabbing it. Not busting the bank either. But the point is, like, a lot of my activity now will be like, oh, I should go outside right now and garden. And then it goes.
See, that's similar to me, but I just I've always put it as like my higher self sort of guiding me. Now, if there's something else there, I'm not really sure, but I'll go through like, no, don't get that one. Get that one. Well, why would I get that one? I never buy that, and it's just like.
You brought up a great thing. The higher self soul, I help people see that as well. So when you connect to your higher self, your soul, and to the universe, no barriers. Your angels are in you, around you, all shapes, sizes, colors. If you want to get complicated and say transdimensional, multidimensional, fine. And light beings, again, back to what we talked about before, Seth and everything. It's big. It's big. But your brain, my brain, grasping it, you just get any advice, any help you need. You get directed, sure. And what do you think half your good intuition advice has been in your head? When it's worked out in the past, you're getting help from relatives, angels. You've got guides as well. Unconditional love, spirit guides also. And you can meet spirit animals. I should mention that, like red-tailed hawk, the wolf, cool stuff. Hummingbird.
Question from Jeffrey. He wants to know, have the spirits you met shown light on your life purpose?
Yes, that's a good one. So I started off on Wall Street, public relations for 18 years, was making CEO pay, trapped in New York City, and I'm making fun of that. Everyone thought I was from California. I talked to everybody. I'm enthusiastic, you haven't guessed. But a sudden layoff because of the Lehman crisis and an hour's notice. I was the only one out of 72 people in the fourth round of stealth layoffs excited. I was moving to a home in Austin that I'd already bought. And I had no game plan. And that's when I had a ton of stuff happen to me. And remind me the question again, because I'm going to go blank. It had to do with...
I'll put it up on screen so you can see.
There we go.
The spirits you met shown light on your life purpose.
Yeah, and I forgot the most important thing of what I do for folks. Okay, so that tells you right there, you witnessed how not slack I am, but how empty up here in a way. So my actual life purpose is to help people meet their own cheerleading squads. I rarely get to do that. 170 figures on the front end. And I'm sitting on, I've got a photo of Play-Doh. Let me find that. So you meet these figures and, to ask 100 questions and get hugs and take care of you getting comfortable with this entire concept, barely have time to meet your guardian angel. So here, if you can allow for this, can you see the old man's face? Let me try to, everything's backwards on this thing. So there we go. Can you see the old man's face right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's,
oh yeah. Okay.
no hugs for him. They're sweaty. And now everybody gets it. Once you realize a hug's a hug and you get a goosebump, it gets bigger. You get a whoosh. You can get a wind in the room. Once you're on your 10th hug, you start to go, oh my God, it's a hug. I want more hugs. So you're all into it. You get to Play-Doh and you kind of forget the advice I gave you. I'm like, hey, it's sweaty. Just fist pump, tap on the shoulder. And back to you, Bridge. You can get Audrey Hepburn puts her hand on your shoulder. You feel sliver. She's like Grace itself, except there's an angel named Grace. She's more like her sister. You feel a slender hand on your back and your month has been made, not even your day. Audrey's rocks. But so you literally get a full-on experience. This is what I'm trying to tell you is it's so impossible to grasp that it's kind of like going to a pool party. You and I, all of us, were dressed kind of well. We don't want to get into the pool. We were just there for the cocktails, the company. And who wants to get into a pool if it's a nighttime party and you're kind of more for the scene? I'm not getting in the pool. You guys would shove me in or something, but I'm the type it takes me half an hour just to get to my knee. So this is about getting in the pool and doing Olympic laps. And yet you don't have to be an Olympic swimmer. You are Esther Hicks, Neil Donald Walsh. You can meet God, but the way I described it is you got to own the rest. It's like the relatives thing. You got to own some angels, hear from them. It's cool. God's kind of like all voices at once coming in. And I'm not going to say really much more about that. This takes care of itself. You're putting yourself out there. So there's a fear factor involved and you're like, oh, I don't know. And think about all the different woo-woo-woo communities. Do Buddhists, and I'm not knocking anybody, Do they really want to meet Buddha? It's kind of like that Tampa Bay Buccaneers thing. And I said, let's go on the field and meet Brady. Half the people have already fled the stadium and are driving home 100 miles an hour, and they were supposedly the #1 Bucks fan around. So it's that Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance quote. Truth comes knocking on the door and you yell, go away, I'm looking for the truth. That's totally and it's Peaceful Warrior. If you like Dan Millman, I love that movie. I'm going to plug Dan Millman. Go spend all your money on Dan, on Esther Hicks, Gary Zukav, that Seed of the Soul book from whenever, way back, Eckhart Tolle, all these folks. Byron Katie's good. But at the end of the day, this is a whole new level. That's Telegraph stuff. They set the standard. They've done 40, 50 years of work to get us this far. Suddenly the universe has stepped in, and what I would say is the message, and it's just messages of love and kindness, no great shift. Yeah, a lot of change coming, but it's just an opportunity for us all to slow down out of rat race mode, do a little more awareness, 5 to 10% kindness, love, compassion a week, and that's it. And now a quick thing on Dan Millman's gymnastics movie, Peaceful Warrior. Scott Meklowitz played the gymnast, but Nick Nolte was the gas station attendant. That's an angel. You can meet him. He's a coach. I got another angel named Dale who coached, I better not say it, coached a 5-time Olympic gold medalist in a particular sport. And great coach for life, business, relationships. You get real answers. They know your situation. You have no privacy. You're not getting judged either. So this is no interference. I just make it fun. You can tell I hate my job. And I tell dad jokes. So with your permission, one quick dad joke.
Go for it.
Why did the rabbit fall down that well?
I don't know, Michael.
He didn't see that well.
Oh, boom, boom.
No, but if you laughed, you're here. And that's your entire, you just got an Olympic gold medal for slowing down and letting go in the moment. And that's it.
That's the whole trick. Wow.
Yeah, and I challenge the audience to challenge you guys. In the next year, I'll donate service individually, but then we'll get you guys a group somehow. Or geographically, you might not all be together, but by Zoom, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe all 3 of you will be looking up at your ceiling and see the same angel at the same time and be like, how's it possible? There's no time and space at another level. So an angel could be in 10 spots at once, no big deal.
Well, you do this show long enough and often enough. I've done over 1,500 episodes of it, and you kind of lose all of your preconceptions about, well, that can't happen, this can't happen. I mean, I pretty much agreed anything can happen. I think the ultimate challenge is what you let off with, which is letting go of stuff, because that's the ongoing challenge we deal with day to day, minute by minute, second by second.
Yep.
And as you would say, and I'm sure, Walt, you'd say this, it reaccumulates pretty quickly. So you got
It's very fast. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Hey, one more quick war story, as long as I'm not chewing up the clock here. Nantucket, lifelong home. My first job out of college was actually the police department there. The recession I got really lucky. I was getting a parking sticker. Someone slamming the door. There's a long line by the bulletproof glass, and out steps a guy in a uniform who slams the final door. Looks like a fisherman out of a Mrs. Paul's fish sticks commercial, and clearly, and it's the first time I ever was a joker or a humorous guy or did a comedian act. I jerked my thumb up in the air, and I'm sure it was an angel popping in. I jerked my thumb up in the air, and I said, "Does that mean there's a job opening here?" Because he clearly quit. And the woman on the bulletproof glass was like, "Yeah, are you serious? Do you know the town?" I could never remember street names, people names, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I know the street names." I got interviewed by the chief and hired. My point is, they didn't pay a lot. So to get a sandwich at Henry's Sandwich Shop was a really big deal. I'm in line, I paid for it, brown bag, and Henry shows up. He looks like a mini Santa, perfectly gray beard, but it's not him. It's an angel named Dale, the one I mentioned, as Henry, who winks at me, takes a brownie. He's the owner. He can do anything he wants, stuffs the brownie in my bag. I love brownies, so it made my day. And I'd already paid for everything, and I've got the owner saying it's okay. And somehow time and space is not being disrupted, but he gave me a free brownie, and I went off and ate. And he was checking in as Pepe, the Colombian truck driver in Weehawken. I lived there for 11 years, went through 3 owners of a Colombian joint, a little hole in the wall. I got my Cafe con Leche spot. The nicest guy in the world would come in and ask how life was going. That was an angel named Dale checking in. So even if you don't believe or are never going to do the service, quietly, and I mean with real intent, Esther Hicks style, LOA stuff, set your intent and be like, angels, surprise me. In the next 3 weeks, give me some humor. A guy wearing a mask, holding open the coffee shop door, twinkly eyes, who says what I was thinking yesterday I needed to hear. And makes my day. And for the next week, I'm like, I wonder if that was what Mike was talking about. I can't stop thinking of this guy. He was the nicest guy in the world, or a woman. Or something crazy happens that you're like, the brain structure is at the left side, right side, whichever side. It says, no way that's possible. You're going to discount everything until finally you got nothing left. You can't fight it anymore. So that's what I'm talking about. I get you out of here, whichever side, and I get you to here to have a lot of fun and a lot of laughter. And there's tons of humor, and that's the best part is, you know how everyone's different on the humor thing. You get it your way, so you're giggling, you're laughing. Geronimo steals the show out of everybody. The guy is roguish. The first two, Dull Knife Red Shirt, are proper, yes, no. He's like, yeah, nah. He can do 1930s Bowery Boys slang, 1950s, 1970s. I pour a little coffee for him in the morning and put it out as kind of offering, not to sound woo-woo-woo, but he'll say, fill her up, bub. Who says that? So, look, great coaches. Those guys, those three chiefs are very down to earth, even easier to hear than angels, and their strength is helping anybody navigate from point A to point B on any situation. So I'm back to any level of detail. Can you imagine? I mean, I've had folks from Esalen do this, Omega Institute, a Stanford person teaches at Stanford, 3 from UC San Diego, blah, 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 blah. It really doesn't matter who's done it, but my website's got a ton of the list of folks if it makes people feel better. None of my details, thousands of little experiences is going to help you or anybody else accept their own situation to be like, oh, I might let go and jump in that pool. You're not getting me in the pool either. I know where you're coming from. Anybody who's listening out there, it's crazy. But you can do it as a group.
I didn't realize I was going to have so much fun with this today.
Well, one year from now, have me back after you've each gone for like 3 or 4 hours. Now, not everybody who does it on the podcast admits that they do it. I just had to say, hey, do you know anybody who's done this to the last host, one of the last 3? And they plugged me for 30 seconds, but we didn't spend any time talking about it. It's kind of personal. It's kind of private. You don't want to admit I've had tons of, for every testimony you'll see, I've probably had 2 fall through, and you can't fault anybody for backtracking a little.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's big. It's scary. You're not used to being that open. It's kind of like a wedding day thing if you had a good wedding.
But I mean, intellectually, at least, and I would probably say also on the feeling level, it makes sense that this is where we're at, where you're at with what you're talking about, because like you said, we've been getting all this information. It's like we've been getting entertained for the last 40 years. All this entertainment has been coming through, and we're getting all this stuff fed to us. But now it's almost like, okay, it's your turn.
Think of space right now. Think of these guys going up, Branson and everything else. I think it's wonderful. But the real outer space or universe is here. And the real astronauts or the real brave ones are the ones who just slow down to get out of human thinking. That's the only thing holding us back. And it just is holding us back from this much more kindness, compassion, not judging others as much. It's Christmas Carol. We're all Scrooge at some point in that story. The beginning, he's a jerk. The 79 pages later, he's the nicest guy in the world, giving out the most joy. Now, if we talk Disney version, he's gone for 30 seconds. He has a lot of stuff happen in that time. Walt, he was seeing images. And in those dreams. And then they kind of, I don't want to say fixed them. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. Like global warming and all the rest. I had an angel say once, it's not up to humans to fix anything. That goes down as one of the deepest things I've ever heard. And I'm still pondering that. I'm the guy who got stuck on non-duality 30 years ago, or maybe more than that. 1993, I wrote it in a little diary on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, working at a Wall Street firm. I'm like, non-duality. I never could figure it out. I didn't have a Buddhist teacher just sitting by that I could be like, hey, what's non-duality? It was Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Pieces Every Step, his only non-complete sentence in the whole book. He goes, non-duality, period. Or no, it says not two, period, right after non-duality. I didn't read that till I moved to Austin, and I'm like, oh my God, it only means not two. So it's the whole, if you're divided, you're doing the duality thing. If you're one with the soccer ball, one with life, you're letting go, you're one with everything. And you're already doing this when you're a great cook and you're cooking and you're making something that everyone in the other room's waiting for. That's it. You're into the movie and you're bawling because it's the greatest movie ever. But think of your favorite song from 10 years ago. Is it your favorite song anymore? Probably not, because your mind, the song didn't change. Your mind got tired of it. The mind is a powerful but very dumb secondary organ. Not taken away from anybody. I'm the one with the dumb secondary organ, but it's just a secondary organ. And it does no good at all. It doesn't help you hug a dog. have more fun, laugh, let go. And don't forget, you have your own personal life path that angels lay out, and they can alter the path. So the sooner you get asking, even if it's dream time, Walt, forget about me. Just be like, hey, tonight before bed, write this down though. Be like, hey guys, all right, fine. Something might be up. I'll give you that much. Sock it to me in nighttime classes I'll never remember, or Walt, be like, I want glimpses.
I remember, yeah.
I want to remember, yeah, I'm not good at that. But you get hit, and this is back to Janine, you get hit with you get to see a lot, feel a lot, you get caught off guard when you're least expecting it. I'm getting goosebumps everywhere. They just manage you in a great way. I got 3 business managers, 3 angels.
Very cool. All right, so we're running out of time. I want to make sure I get this in here. Yeah. People want to reach you. They want to find this Michael André Ford, who like goes on for 1,000,000 miles an hour, telling us about all these different ways of letting go. They want to reach you. They want to find out more how you do this. So how do they reach you?
Yeah, the website's just my name, Michael, Michael, André like the champagne, Ford like the truck, michaelandreford.com. I got a little book called Listening to Angels, $4.99 on Amazon and elsewhere. You can find it on the website, but go to my Amazon author profile. That's the easiest way to find it, or Glowstick Zen. The little Listening to Angels book is written by angels, and it's really gentle, compassionate. I've got book reviews up. If you think I wrote it, thank you, but there's no way I wrote that thing. It's just gentle. So I look back and I'm like, oh God, I'll never write anything long again. My other book's 1,900 pages. Forget about it. I was popping. It's 2/3 written by the crew. And I got a Norwegian who's saying it's a fantastic book, who put up a great testimonial. But again, I disavow. It's like, what is it, Mission Impossible? I disavow the whole thing. You get the experience. So whatever perks, tweaks your interest, do it. Angels are always around you. Back to bridge. Just ask and receive. You guys grab me. Let me, make a little pact though at your end, and then grab me, get you done, and then have me back one day, and you can be like, oh my God, did we open up a can of worms with this guy?
Yeah, I already kind of do it. Like, I'll specifically pray to angels, and I always pray to God. That's just what I do. But when I pray to my angels, if I'm like feeling anxious about something, or I'm driving and I'm anxious and I'm on the way to an appointment or anything like that, I'll just be like, please, angels, just bring some peace over me and calm me down. And it happens like literally within minutes. So
ask for
that. Yeah.
Right now. Ask for angel hugs, a little whoosh, front or back side, but you got to do it your way. Just ask for the littlest feeling of something. And if you're a listener right now, you can go to my website, and I have a pop-up right now of an angel named Joy, pink ball light. She's high, peppy voice, if you thought I talked fast. Very happy. But you can use that photo, and there's a little bit of an instruction there to give it a go. You just do a little listening, look at the photo, let your eyes be there. I think the only structure I've got besides pen and paper, that's helpful to capture your answers, is the equivalent of a Boy Scout pledge. You don't even have to do this. You just say silently, don't get caught at the supermarket. Say, angels, get me out of my head into my heart, make it nice. Amen, rock and roll, thank you. Whatever is your inner, fearless, peaceful warrior way of letting go and owning it, though. What do you do before you get on the soccer field? Whatever you do, what do you do to set your intent and really be that warrior? We're not talking violence. We're talking that.
Right.
Going into your heart warriorship. No fear.
Wow. I feel like that we just did 3 shows in one, guys. I don't know what you think, but that's what it feels like. I mean, I need to go take a shower. I mean, that's the way it feels right.
Okay, that's a different show. That's a different show.
Have somebody do the service. Have them come on and be like, holy cow, I needed 2 months the Norwegian testimonial. I forgot I hadn't had video testimonials, so I grabbed about 8 lately. They're on the website. I've had some. Jonathan Ellerby was the spiritual director at Canyon Ranch. He's now head of the spirituality and practice, blog that's out there. The Bruce Sucks. I forgot the name of the couple that runs that. I've had Hollywood film director, Milton Secret, that Eckhart Tolle school bullying film, the director for that, a Hollywood director. Barnett Bain, he teaches creativity. He's done the service, gave me a great testimonial. Airbnb executive Chip Conley, who does that wisdom school. He's great. He's done it. Great testimonial. Dr. Eben Alexander's wife, girlfriend, business partner, she just did it. Karen Newell. So I have a March testimonial up from her. Again, all over the map, folks who have done it, but does that make it any easier for anybody listening to actually get in the pool? Nope. It's a personal decision.
It's all personal. It is.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I'm very glad we had you on the show, and I'm glad that you decided to come on. Seriously, this has been, I mean, this is very energized, and I think we're going to probably see people visiting the website, so it's going to be cool to find out how that plays out too. But thank you for joining us today. This has been great.
Yeah,
Walt, grab me. You need to meet some light beings, but angels first, so put it into context.
Well, we'll do it one step at a time. That's the only way.
Yeah. Maybe this is 2022, so.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you all.
Guys. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Jen. Janine, thank you all, Billy. All the people in the live stream.
Guys.
Thank you, especially to our podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.